Welcome everybody to this webinar, training, class that we're going to be exploring today. How to work online from anywhere and thrive. Now that, when you create an event on Facebook, you have to pinpoint a title, of course, one that's short enough to fit in the title box. But this is really a topic that cannot be summed up in one title. But for those of you who are here, if you're here live, then it indicates to me that you are in a space right now of either exploring how to launch online, or you are already online and you want to progress with that. So wherever you find yourself, I am thrilled to welcome you. And also if you're watching on the replay, if you don't know who I am Maria Kay. And for the purpose of this webinar, I will share with you that I have been working online for almost a decade and a half in some shape or form. And that has allowed me to relocate, firstly from the UK to India, and in the midst of all of that, to live a very location-independent lifestyle, which means that even as I've been traveling for various reasons, also including work, that my business goes with me, and it has been that way for the longest time. And there are a couple of you who are on here today who will vouch for the fact that I have clients from all over the world. I teach and I coach and I mentor people from all over the world. And it's one of the beautiful things about working online is that it completely blows open your own world. So today, as I said in the intro before I started recording, there's no fancy PowerPoint. Not that there's anything wrong with, fancy PowerPoints, but I want you to, yes, watch me and follow me, but also to not just hear my words today, but also feel my words. I work in a very holistic way. And before we can begin to either intellectualize or create plans and strategies and take actions, we first have to lay the foundations, and that's what we'll be doing today. I also said in the spiel before I started recording that there's not going to be a hard sell or a hard push for anything today. There is the opportunity to take everything that we are talking about today further with me if you choose to. And if you would like more information, you are absolutely welcome to reach out to me, request information, or request a chat, no obligation chat, where we can explore more in depth what's going on for you, because I'll be giving information today and I will be asking some power questions, which hopefully will ignite some new ways of thinking for you. But you can't ever beat having a one-to-one conversation. So that's definitely available to you if you choose to take it. And knowing where to start is always interesting with things like this, because there's no right or wrong way. But what I do want to start with today is the journey within that is required just as equally as the action journey. When we think about launching a business, very often we think about the tangible details and pieces of it, like a website and a logo, social media accounts, services, your bio, a sales page, a click funnel. There are so many things to think about that need tangible action steps. And we're going to come to that. That's a very integral part of all of this. But I always like to start with you. And one of the biggest power tools that you can develop as you step onto this journey is the ability to know yourself. Because the world of online business has become extremely noisy and prevalent, let's say. Just to give you a bit of an idea, years ago when I started, it was very different to how it is now. And there are many experts who have popped up out of sort of the woodwork, and very good ones at that on the whole. But it's very easy to get sucked in or sidetracked or to buy into somebody else's idea of how it should be done. Not to mention everything else that comes with being an entrepreneur, a spiritualpreneur, a heart-centered business person, a location independent, a digital nomad. The list is pretty endless. There's so many moving parts. So before you step anywhere near the sort of the doorway to this new segment of your life, I would like to steer your attention first inwards. And I'm not saying that you're going to take a year out and go on a spiritual journey, or that you're going to quit everything else and journal and meditate every day. Far, far from it. But developing the ability to read the inner guidance that's being given to you, to be able to tune in on a daily basis, on a regular basis, and to some extent, first of all, feel the nudges, because this world, my friends, can be it can be volatile, it can be exciting, interesting, so many things. But if you can learn to master your own self-awareness, then you'll always have your own back. Even if you need to hire a coach or hire a mentor or join a masterminding group or take a training course or whatever it is that you will need to do, the bottom line is that ability to trust your own gut. It's a paramount. And so the inner journey is just as important as the outer journey. And it's through the inner journey that we derive the pieces of clarity that will enable us to lay those stepping stones one after the other, so that we have something to step on as we progress. And it's quite beautiful when you develop that ability to trust yourself. And even if you don't quite know, or there might be fear, or there might be doubt, in a roundabout way, you'll end up developing the tools to figure it out. And so the very first place to start is developing your own daily practice in some way, shape, or form. It will be your saving grace. And so think about what you're doing now to support yourself emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually. All of those things are massively important, because if this is all new to you, if you've been used to working a 9-to-5, perhaps a day job, or you've been in a different profession and you're about to step out and into something brand new, what you're dealing with here is change. And any kind of change on any level is unsettling. It's new. And so we hear about the comfort zone, don't we? And how, step out of your comfort zone and da-da-da-da-da. Well, let me tell you, this game of conducting your life and your business in this very new way is a massive step, likely, out of your comfort zone. And so when you place importance on your daily practice, whatever that might look like to you, you are acknowledging the importance of your own well-being, your own mental state, your own mindset. You are acknowledging and placing importance on yourself. You are the hub of everything in your life. And not only, of course, will you be launching a new way of working, but you're probably also dealing with life as it already exists, whether it's the children or your existing job or whatever it might be. So as compelling and as exciting and as doable and as manageable as it all is, you will be taking on more than you were dealing with a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, or a year ago. And so in review, start with the inner journey, place importance on it, carve out time every day and find what feels good for you. And understand that anytime there's a block or an issue or a blip in the external phase of your life or segment of your life, that you could probably find the answer within. And so if you already have an established daily practice, then you'll be quite well versed in that process. So the next piece that we're looking at is, a lot of people, when they want to design or launch a business, they think about the business first. What's it going to look like? What's it going to offer? Who am I going to serve? What are the products going to be? How much money do I want to make? How many hours a week? Am I going to work from home, or am I going to hire an office space? Am I going to rent my home out? Am I going to travel the world while I work online? So most often we look to that first, and I say that's important, but in my experience, I think it's far more potent and valuable to begin by acknowledging the kind of lifestyle that you want to live. And we're not just talking about materialistically, how much money and how many houses you want to buy or things like that. That can definitely come, but scaling it back and starting right at the beginning and asking yourself, how do I want to feel every day? Truly, how do I want to feel every day? Start with the feeling, and then how do I want to spend my days? How do I want my mornings to be? Do I want to wake up organically, or do I want to wake up with an alarm? Where do I want to live in the world? Am I going to take my existing physical business and just put it all online and just continue living life as I was? Or am I going to relocate, move to a different country? So when I'm teaching my students, my entrepreneurial or spiritualpreneurial students, we often spend a lot of time on this, because I'll be really honest with you. Yes, building a business online and living this kind of lifestyle-led way of working is absolutely doable. It's absolutely compelling. It is life-changing. It is worth it. It is possible for you and everyone else. But there are going to be moments where, like in anything in life, in any new project, in any creation, there will be moments where you might lose interest, you might not be motivated, you'll feel uninspired, maybe you'll be overwhelmed, tired, you want to tear your hair out, you want to scream. Things won't be working in the way that you expected them to work. And so when those things happen, we need something to back us up, to give us a boost, to remind us why we are doing what we are doing. And so I find that we need two things. Well, we need many things, but let's categorize it into two separate things just for the sake of simplicity. We need the important piece, which is how you want to live your life. Why are you doing this? Do you want more time to spend with your children? Do you want to have extra financial security, an additional stream of income perhaps? Based off what has happened in recent months, so many people have been left with no income, literally, either being furloughed or hours reduced or made redundant. Do you want to safeguard yourself from that? Do you want to build an additional nest egg as well as what you're already doing? So clarity, and why am I doing this? And then the second piece is what really forms or meets one of our basic human needs as human beings, which is service, fulfillment, and meaning. We are wired as human beings to feel really good when we give back. And we are also, each of us, born with a purpose. Now, for some of us, it's going to be, you know, my purpose is that I am a shining light in my local community. And by being in the neighborhood, being a happy, chirpy person in the neighborhood, that, you know, I'm always that person that can give advice or can, you know, cheer somebody up. That's a really important purpose. But then for some of you, for you being here, you might have something that's a little bit more consuming, that's a little bit more intertwined with your actual work. And I'm imagining the fact that you're here, that, you know, that resonates with you, that sort of is partly why you're here. And so that is important. When we get to grips with, we can understand why we want to do what we want to do. It's helpful. It helps to sort of keep us going. But I have found that it's not enough on its own, as well as your own lifestyle requirements and needs is not enough. So the two combined, you know, really pack a punch and can support and help you as you progress. And I also find, this is another piece that, and I write about this quite extensively in my book, is that having a really deep-rooted sense of hunger, a hunger for the change, a hunger for, it could be achievement or not. It'll feel slightly different for each of you, but it's almost like that fire in your belly. Now, maybe this is around a cause, a purpose. Maybe there's a group of vulnerable people out there who have gone through something or who are going through something that you are really passionate about helping. Maybe you've been through something and you got through the other end and you learnt a bunch of stuff and you got clear. Maybe you're a survivor, maybe you overcame, maybe you grew up in a specific part of the world or living within a specific situation that's quite common. And you're really passionate about sharing the truth or making someone's life better or different. That constitutes as hunger. It's not quite passion. So when you mold all of those things together, that can be, it can be your backbone, that holding you up, propping you up in those days where you just don't want to do anything. And so your journey within, deciding how you want to live your life and connecting with that why and that hunger and that passion is a really good starting place. But that's just wishy-washy, isn't it, Maria? What am I supposed to do with that? How can I make money with that? It's a really good question. And so very often when we start with this, we don't really know what we're doing. We just know we've got an inkling that, I'm supposed to do something. I've got something to give, or hey, I'm really good at something. I've noticed that in the past I've really helped people, and it's worked really well. Maybe I should start making money from this. Yeah. But how do you get from that seed idea, or from that invisible pool, as I call it, to a fully flourished, thriving, lucrative business? Big questions, right? And very often those big questions can be way too big for the mind to fathom, in the early days. And so what we do is we break it down. We really scale it back. We reverse engineer. So you've got your desired upgraded life vision. Spend some time journaling, jotting things down, listing, brainstorming. Let yourself go all the way to the very depths of what feels uncomfortable to you in terms of desire and dream. We've all of us really heard as we were growing up, who do you think you are? Don't stretch yourself too much. That's a bit unrealistic, or that's a bit risky, or that's never been done before, or stick to your lane. I'm sure you've heard that or something similar throughout your lifetime. Now, if you're going to step into this lifestyle, you have to find a way, and we work extensively on this in the Spiritualpreneur Upgrade group that I run, that we have to spend a lot of time unlearning. So unlearning everything that we've learned. When you think about it, conducting business online is fairly new. When I first started, and I wrote about this in a recent article, it was really frowned upon. Everyone who conducted business online, even if they were doing something really, in a helpful way, were often seen as frauds and a little bit kooky and strange, right? And it's definitely evolved. So, I'm quite happy to say you guys will not be having to deal with that as much, but perhaps it still resides in your mind. And so as you are envisaging, designing, and bringing forth your own upgrade vision, it's, excuse me, it's quite likely that you will come across, stumble upon your own limiting beliefs, or your own misaligned ideas about what's possible. And so that's part of the inner work. I digress. And so how do we take the first steps? We reverse engineer from the end result that we want. And we start to take the teeniest and the tiniest of steps. Now, for example, when I started to feel the pull to leave the UK and take my whole life and relocate it to Goa, India. I'd never been here before, never had a desire to come here, but the pull to do so was so strong. And these big questions started arising. How on earth do we go from this teeny tiny invisible pull that's like barely even a nudge to a fully fledged, transformed, upgraded life? And so I started to do little things like research, Google, how to, or started to watch YouTube videos of people who were doing what I'm already doing. So they do say, if you want to create or build something new, then learn from people who have already done it or are doing it. And so starting with what you can, with the equipment that you have, with the skill set that you already have. Very often, we spark an idea and then we allow our conditioned mind to get in the way and tell us, well, okay, well, you need to go and get this certification and you need to get the best website and you need this equipment, or you need to know this, or you need to fix yourself first, or you need this. And please don't fall into that trap. Please trust that where you are now is a valuable place. And so I always say, start with what you have. Start where you are, with the time that you have, with the resources that you have, with the skills and the abilities that you have. Because action breeds momentum and momentum breeds clarity. Not even necessarily in that order. I'll say it again. Action breeds momentum, momentum breeds clarity, and vice versa. So the quote that I love so much comes to mind, and I really can't recall who said it, but you don't have to see the entire staircase to take the first step. So you only need the first step in the staircase to be illuminated to take the first step. And this game can be quite literally like that. So please no 5-year business plans until you've explored a little bit, right? Because chances are if you are sitting on an innate ability or a natural talent or a skill or a helping profession, with the rate that firstly, the internet world evolves, the way that social media evolves, the way that everything that is set up, the systems and the processes that we rely on as online entrepreneurs, they are changing so quickly. The trends that once were really the be all and end all are now very outdated. And so one step at a time, one step at a time. So starting with that passion and that interest will be a good place to start. And then asking these kinds of questions. What am I good at? Who am I here to serve? How am I helping? How can I help people? How have I helped people in the past? What do I know categorically right now that if I was to spend, I ask this question so often to my clients, if I was to spend an hour with you, if I was to say, hey Fiona, hey Teresa, I need to spend an hour with you, I'm not really doing so well, or I've got an issue or a problem, help me. What will you do for me? Do you have a service? a product, a modality, and start from there. And then the next step, big shot, is to actually start doing it. So there's a little line, there's a really teeny tiny line between giving your services away for free and just jumping in and doing it. And so sometimes it's good to start with friends, family, loved ones, or finding a network of people who are in a similar situation to you and saying, hey, you know, I've got this service, I've got this this program, or I've got this idea. Can I test it on you? And what happens when we jump in, when we launch in, is it's almost like we blow any of that excuse me, heavy or negative mind chatter out of the water, because that provides us with an opportunity to reap instant evidence of how capable you are, evidence of that actually I'm on the right path, evidence that, wow, I just really helped somebody and I just didn't even think I was doing anything. Evidence that, well, I do that every day anyway in my life. I'm always the person that people call up to get sort of as a sounding board or as advice, or hey, my closets are always super tidy. I have a real knack for something, right? So don't beat around the bush for longer than you need to. Work with the skills that you have, the ideas that you have, the time that you have, the resources that you have now. And then go from there. Build up from there. So you've laid the foundation already with the inner work, with the mindset, with sort of tuning in and letting yourself want what you want without apologizing for it. You've dreamed about your dream life, whatever that might look like. It might simply be just freeing up your mornings a little bit so you don't have to rush out of bed. It could be something simple as that. Let me just reiterate, there's really no right or wrong way to build a thriving online business or a lifestyle that is based around a location independent business. That's the beautiful thing. You get to design it. But the one little downfall of that could be, if we let it be, that suddenly when we're given complete free reign of something, our lives, so to speak, we kind of get a little bit perplexed because we're not used to it. And so it can take some getting used to. So once you've done all of that, you then get to start practicing, putting things into practice. And keep a journal. Please keep a journal. Jot things down. Refer to that as often as you need to, because there'll be so much going on in your mind. This is an actual creative process. You are taking something almost invisible, not unlike an artist picking up a pencil with an idea, and you are going to create a masterpiece. That masterpiece will be your life, and it will be based around your location independent business. And so documenting as much as you can will be really helpful. It would also help to provide you with content moving forward, right? That's exactly how my book was born. It was all definitely born from my life experiences from birth until that point, but it was also born from my journals, jotting everything down. So for example, when I arrived in India after about 6 to 8 weeks of concentrated action towards making that big move, that radical upgrade, I found myself in almost like an upgrade hangover. It was like, how the hell, what just happened, and how the heck did it just happen? And it was through my documenting of that, all of that some of the teachings that I teach in my groups and with my clients, that's how they were born. So do keep a journal, do document as much as you can. and have that be, you know, a regular practice. So let's see where are we going next? Oh, this is a juicy one of my favorites. So very often when we're launching something online, or when we're, you know, creating a social media presence, or we're stepping into a leadership or an influencer role, or even if we're basing a business on something that we love, like, for example, maybe we design and we create jewelry, or we make scented candles, and we would happily do that for free if money were no issue, right? Or whatever it is that we're stepping into, whether we're mentoring, coaching, helping people, maybe we're writing, maybe you're an author, maybe you are a poet, an artist, all of these things that you'd happily do for free, that you wouldn't give it a second thought if money were no issue. So there's a distinct line that we must cross as entrepreneurs that takes our business from hobby, right, to business. And it must first happen in our mind. It must first happen in a mindset shift. Because quite often, if you are working online, it can feel a little bit not real. It can. I mean, right now you're all across somewhere in a different part of the world, and I'm just talking to a screen, right? And you're just watching me on a screen. I could be anything, anywhere, TV. And so there has to be, and it can take some time, and please don't beat up on yourself if it takes a little longer than you would like it to. But hopefully hearing me say this today will, and write it down, I treat my business as a business. And that means also informing the people that you live with that this is your business. It means letting them know that a little bit of why you're doing this. So going back to the initial stages where you've gotten clear on why you're doing what you're doing, and the outcomes that you want, the tangible outcomes that you want to experience in your own life, but also the effects and the results that you want to see in the world. It's important that not only you get clear on that, but also that you inform the key people in your life about that too. So as you step into treating your business as exactly that, a business that will at some point, hopefully sooner than later for you, begin to provide you with an income. And the possibilities of income online far supersede any possibility of an income that you can earn in an actual job. Let's just put it there and say it as it is. You have limitless capacity to state your desired income, and with smart, conscious work and strategy, you can orchestrate that. And now can you see why it's so important to treat your business as a business and not a hobby? And the reason it's important to assimilate that first within your mind, but also to convey that to the people who you live with, or the people that sort of you are sharing a life with, is because there will be moments where you might have to work more than you would in your normal 9 to 5, or maybe erratic hours, or maybe some of the things that you're doing won't make sense. outside of your own mind, but they make sense to you because you're following the breadcrumbs, you're following your intuition. But for somebody who isn't in that, they may not get it. They're like, what are you doing? And that's just weird, right? Why are you talking to a camera every day? No one else is there. Yeah. Or why are you sharing about that when it makes no sense or it's not connected to your product or service, right? So there'll be a lot of that. There'll be a lot of that, not just outside of you, but inside of you. And it's tricky. It can be tricky, but, and then we move on to the guilt. I'm going to say most commonly, mothers or parents who are raising children can experience it too, to a sort of a more a weightier level. So it can feel a lot bigger when maybe you're in the period of launching, or maybe you need to pour some resources into your business to give it a boost. So in many different ways, there will be choices to be made. And what I say is that, and I write about this in my book, that you need to have key conversations with key people, the people that matter the most to you, and make some agreements, come to some understandings, especially in the first sort of 6 to 12 to 18 months, right? And pinpoint your highest priorities, your top priorities. I'd say pinpoint 3 or 4, right? It might be, okay, my one priority is I take the kids to school. Another priority is that I have date night with my partner once a week. My other priority is my health and well-being, that I'm going to eat well and exercise no matter what, right? So pick out what's important to you and stick to those, and then get rid of everything else. So all of those commitments, those calendar fillers, that if I was to ask you, why do you do that? Why are you committing to that? That you might not really be able to answer me. It's a little bit like writing Christmas cards. Like years ago, I used to sit there and write 100 Christmas cards every year. And then I woke up and I'm like, what? So things like that. It takes, I think in the book, the chapter's called, It's Okay to Be Ruthless, something like that. I don't remember exactly, but committing to your business as if it's a business. But even more, committing to your business as if you would commit to a job that's going to give you a salary, even if you don't have a clear-cut salary just yet. And so it can take some time to build your own belief around what you're doing. When I shifted gears in my career or business, call it what you will, it took me a minute or so to get over the sort of imposter syndrome. This might be something that will happen to you, especially if you're moving from a very structured way of working. Maybe you've been in a profession, maybe you've been a teacher or a personal assistant or a florist, let's say, and suddenly you want to move into working for yourself, working online, building a business around your own passions, around your own innate abilities. It can take some time to build up the believability around it. And that, again, comes back to jumping in. Don't wait. Just start. Just do it. One really cool way to do that is to pick, just give away 6 slots, whatever it is that you're offering. So maybe you're a Reiki healer and you want to do distant Reiki. Maybe you have been forced to shut down your healing center, or maybe you are a designer and you can't go into people's houses anymore. Whatever it might be, The new version of that will only thrive in materially and financially when you believe it can, right? And we can do all the affirmations in the world. We can sit there and, my business is lucrative. I earn X amount of dollars every month from my business. You can do all of that, and it's useful. But unless you truly believe it, there can be a bit of a lag in time. So, as I've said, I've mentioned this already, but it's worth mentioning again. Do all that you can to gather evidence, and gathering evidence in real time is so fun. It's so fun when you see the results of what you're offering or what you're doing for somebody. Okay. And I'd like to pause for a second and ask you to do a little bit of the work now. And I'd like you to answer this question. And you can do so in the chat box if you feel courageous enough to do so. What's the one problem or purpose that you are here to solve or meet? So problem, purpose, or need. Let's use that word as well. Could be a combination of all of those things. If you're sitting here, you've heard me talk for a while now. So I'm imagining there's some things sort of downloading, or as I said before we started recording, that you might feel at points excited or overwhelmed, an array of different emotions may be sort of flowing through you. And that's all very, very good, because it means that we're stirring the pot. We've got things moving. It's so exciting. But I'm interested to know what purpose or problem okay. So feel free to pop in the chat box. And also, let's look at another question. Where do you see yourself, or where would you like to be in a year's time? Close your eyes and envision yourself waking up this time next year. Where are we? We're in October, and it'll be 2021. How are you spending your time? How are you feeling? Who are you working with? How has that impacted your life? How has that helped to transform your life? And how have you helped to transform other people's lives? And as you tune into that vision and feel into the feelings of it, allow the feelings to amplify, allow yourself to really get hooked into and step into the reality of it. Remember, if you can envisage it, you can live it. And as we close, as we are almost at time, this next piece of the puzzle, and we literally, as I said earlier on, we have only scratched the surface. But I do hope that you have been ignited somewhat. So I'm hoping that you're feeling excited and eager. And if you're feeling confused, that's absolutely okay too, because being okay with the confusion and not having the answers It takes a lot of courage, but it does mean that you've stepped away from the familiar. Firstly, in your mind, by being here and being willing to explore something new or different, you've stepped away from the edge. I think there's that meme, isn't there, where they show an island, and then there's another island, and something like you've got to be willing to step away from the shore in order to get to the other destination, to the next place. So that's where you are now. So whatever it is that you're feeling, please know that it's absolutely normal. And as I mentioned in the beginning, there's no hard sell in this. There are options that you can tap into and take advantage of if you choose to get support and guidance and step into a more ongoing space working with me to help you launch and thrive, right, in your new lifestyle, your new business, lifestyle-based business. And absolutely feel free to reach out, ask questions, and request a free consultation. But the final thing that I think is really apt that we, and someone, thank you, Cheryl. Cheryl shared about her limiting beliefs. It's really, really valuable to share that there. If we are not willing to match our mindset to the desired outcomes that we have, then it's literally like a dog chasing its tail. You know, the dog can see the tail. Have you ever watched a dog chasing its tail? It's very cute, right? But that's what we end up as, literally a dog chasing our own tail. And so, firstly, we've got to be willing not just to do the affirmations and the, you know, the mindset training. That's powerful, valuable, it's needed. But it's got to happen here, right? Inside our hearts, where we feel everything. We feel the fears and the worries and the doubts and the anxieties and the, oh my goodness, I'm not good enough. And oh my goodness, what if I fail? And oh my goodness, what if I lose everything? What if people ridicule me? What if they judge me? What if they think I'm silly, stupid, crazy? Believe me, I've had it all, and I'm still here to tell the amazing tale. And I would not be advocating for this lifestyle if I did not think it would absolutely radically transform your life, not just materially, but also on a spiritual basis. Contentment, meaning, inner peace, freedom. From the very beginning of my book, and it's at the beginning because this has been a theme for me from day one in my coaching and mentoring and teaching, is that very often people believe that you cannot have success, freedom, and happiness all at the same time. You have to choose one over the other. And I highly disagree. Is that whatever success feels, means, and looks like to you, you should give yourself permission to have it and go get it. Whatever freedom means to you, whatever happiness means to you, it's all got to be on your terms. You might often see me hashtagging life by design, life on your terms. And that doesn't mean that we're stepping out being rebels and anti this and anti that. No, what it means is that we're pro what feels good to us. We're pro living a life that we want to live. That means that we can be the best versions of ourselves, that we can rise up as much as possible in this lifetime. It doesn't just mean money, but it can mean money if that's what you choose. It doesn't just mean, your favorite car in the driveway, but it can mean that. It doesn't just mean living a location-independent life and traveling while you work, but it can mean that if you want it to. It doesn't just mean working, a very short week, but it can mean that if you want it to. This is your key. I'm giving you the key to open the door to the room where you get the utensils and the tools. They're all laid out for you to design, build, and live the life that you want. But are you willing to do what it takes? And that is the question I'm going to leave you with. Are you willing to do what it takes? Now, you might not know what it takes at this point. You might not know what it's going to take at this point. None of that might be clear yet. But remember, right at the beginning, I talked about hunger, having just this insatiable hunger to just do it. It's that hunger that will fuel you to do what it takes. And it doesn't just mean working incredibly hard. It doesn't just mean giving up some things in favor of other things. It doesn't just mean tough choices. It doesn't just mean putting yourself out there. It doesn't just mean etc. Actually, what it means is to be with the uncertainty, to be with the fear, the doubt, to meet yourself in your vulnerability, knowing that it's part of the journey, knowing that you are stepping into uncharted waters within your lifetime, and trusting that you are only here because you are supposed to be here, and piecing all of those little bits together to form, as I said, that long, never-ending, eternal pathway made up of individual stepping stones. And so I'll leave you with this. Right now, where you are in this very moment, what one thing can you do within the next 60 minutes to back up the desire that you have to honor and respect the invisible pull, to really value who you are, where you are, what you are supposed to be doing in this lifetime? What one piece of action can you take in the next 60 minutes? In my book, I talk about inspired action. So have it be an inspired piece of action. So it might mean that you take a few moments to kind of tune in, close your eyes, breathe a little bit. Thank you so much for being here. I could talk for another 14 hours on this topic, probably another 48, but I'm going to end it now. And thank you, everyone, for taking this time, not to listen to me, because it could be, that's irrelevant, but taking the time to honor yourself, taking the time to take that little nudge or that little idea or that little inkling seriously. And that's all it is, my loves. It's one step at a time, taking yourself seriously, no matter what anyone else is saying, no matter how many people doubt you, how many people think you're crazy or loopy or disagree with what you're doing or saying, right? You know. And if you're here right now, then I know that you know. I'd hope to get a chance to chat with you one-on-one, so please do reach out. You can email me, maria@upgradewithmariak.com, or you could just go to the website and fill out contact form, or you can find me on social media. Until we meet again, take very good care.